I'm hearing the crowd begin to rise in stereo. Skies bringing on and getting in off the lake. Thunder rolls. And all the people shouting out a name. We are Cleveland, born to fight and believe land. We ride or die, hear 'em screaming. Every boy and girl. Cleveland against the world. We lighten the burning river fire. Flames start to grow. My adrenaline keep climbing higher. Fuse about to blow. We feeding off the critics and love the hate. They don't know. Each storm made us stronger, so let it rain. We are Cleveland, born to fight and believe land. We ride or die, hear 'em screaming. Every boy and girl. We are Cleveland, born to fight and believe land. We ride or die, hear 'em screaming. Every boy and girl. Cleveland against the world. Watch my city rock. Feel my city roll. Watch my city rock. We go Cleveland, born to fight and believe land. We ride or die, hear 'em screaming. Every boy and girl. We are Cleveland, born to fight and believe land. We ride or die, hear 'em screaming. Every boy and girl. Every boy and girl. Against the world.
All right, everybody. We are back for the what is this? Dad, is it a third season now? Season 3 of Brownie Post Game? Can you I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I can hear you.
Okay, is this season 3 of Brownie Post Game?
It is.
All right, yeah. So we are back.
Yeah. We are live.
Oh, I've got my my new orange fashion jersey Chubb on. What are you wearing there,
Oops,
Dad?
hold on, Mike. I gotta.
So I got my orange jersey. I don't know if everybody can tell, but I'm really excited to be wearing this jersey this season.
Looks good. Looks good.
I mean, I have one of the 1946 jerseys, like the new ones that just came in. I bought one from China. And I buy a fake China one for every season just to check the quality, and I do a review on the channel, you know?
Right.
And so that one's coming in. It should be here, you know. I usually it takes about a month or 2 months to get it in. But yeah, excited about everything this season. What about you, Dad? I mean, what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I mean, I was looking forward to the first season with Baker, and was disappointed, in terms of how we did.
Yeah.
And then last year, I was, sort of concerned that it don't get too hyped up with the beginning because we got new players. We got Odell, Chubb had a great year the year before. And so I was trying to tone it down. This year, I'm as excited as I've been in 20 years rooting for the Browns. I mean, the fact that we upgraded defense like I don't think any other team in the NFL where we have 3 starters and 8 new players on defense that really, some are seasoned veterans and some are, rookies like Greedy who really never got to play.
Yeah.
Delpit, we got linebackers, we got corners, we got Clowney, which is going to be fantastic if he can have a halfway decent season and take the pressure off of Miles. We got backup players that are fighting for the positions. We know what the offense can do. The offensive line is healthy; they're back. So, I mean, I'm holding my breath for the Kansas City game that we come out and we don't lay an egg, and that we show. And if we win that game, I mean, all hell will break loose. I think. So
Oh
it'll
yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, this season, as we all know, everybody here in chat right now, we've taken a little bit of time off, right, from the live
Right?
streams, just to recharge the batteries, as they say, right? So we took a little bit of time off. I haven't made as many videos yet. I made a couple so far, but we're going to start trickling a few more out. That new Bear Kincaid song, I do want to bring that up. Brand new song, just got the rematch, like literally 5 minutes before we went live. Bear sent me the mastered version of it.
Mhm.
And I got to tell you, I really, really like it. I mean, we're always going to use the Here We Go Brownies as the official song of the channel, but I'm going to start layering in these new ones as they come out. And I will be working on a music video for this song and super excited. The second I heard it, I was like, ooh, this is going to be good. So working with Bear again this season, working with the Schlegel Law Firm again. So I want to give a shout out to Schlegel Law Firm in Columbus, Ohio. If you guys have any legal needs, evictions, any like legal needs like that, reach out to Schlegel Law. They're in Columbus, Ohio, and awesome. Awesome. Big fans of the show, supporters of the show, Patreon business tier. So support Schlegel Law, and you can see him in chat. He's here with us today.
Good.
Additionally, we have refreshed our Patreon bottom ticker. So if you want to have your name listed on the bottom ticker, let's go. Let's get it on. Rachel's here over on Twitch. So we are currently simulcasting both on Twitch and YouTube, and
Good.
I am going to be working on how to get it on Twitter as well, because I have been accepted into the Twitter Media Studio program. So again, we're going to be testing these in preseason. This is what preseason is all about, right? We're putting in the backup kicker here. We're playing with some settings to make sure everything's going right. We should be streaming at 30 frames per second. Usually we stream at 60. It's a little nerdy stuff, but we're doing it at 30. So either way, it's going to be fun this season. Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff going on. Join the Patreon if you haven't yet. Business tier opportunities do still exist. Plenty of them there for the season. So looking to pick up a couple new corporate sponsors as well. And we'll continue on. We're going to also, we're going to be doing some giveaways throughout the season. I haven't finalized all of the giveaways that we typically do. Most likely going to be Sabo. Very good chance we're going to still be with Homage, but there may be some other talking to some other companies as well for some cool giveaway stuff too. So as we know, all the followers here on the channel, you guys know that we always have some great giveaways. So we're going to continue that throughout the entire season.
And we are going to the Pittsburgh game in Cleveland later on.
Yes.
And we will be
Halloween.
simulcasting out there in some form or fashion, either in the parking lot tailgating or whoever we hook up with out there, maybe the day before. I think we get in Saturday, don't we, Mike?
We do. We get in Saturday afternoon. So the October 30th. This is gonna be the first game that my dad and I have gone to in First Energy Stadium. Believe it or not, we've gone to obviously Municipal Stadium in the
Right.
in the 90s, but not correct. Not anywhere. Where's Rustano? We got a Rustano shout out already. He'll be either tuning in, but I don't know if he's gonna be joining. He's always welcome to join. We are going to be doing. I guess we should give some other updates for the channel. We are going to be doing Wednesday show as always this year, guys. So Wednesday show will be rocking. We're going to do pre and post game shows. These preseason ones are, obviously for us to reconnect with you guys and kind of just get the rust kicked off, right? I mean,
Right.
we haven't done this in a while. Kicking off the rust or trying to optimize some things here, but. We're going to be doing Wednesday show. I'm going to try to do some empty backfield on Monday as well. As much as my wife will let me, do the streaming stuff with basically the entire Sunday is gone every weekend, right? So every Sunday's gone. Then Wednesday nights are gone. Then I have other commitments with the kids with gymnastics and all the stuff that our kids do. So if I can get Monday for the empty backfield with empty backfield with Mike Kelly, we will. One more shout out. You'll notice the dogwoofs.com. Dogwoofs.com is another new, I guess you could say new sponsor. They're closely related to some of our other sponsors, but dogwoofs.com is basically like a passion project by John Schlegel, who's the Schlegel Law, to make it really easy for everybody to follow the Browns players for Twitter and Instagram. So instead of, if you just want to see what the Browns players and media people and influencers are doing, just the Browns players primarily, if you go to dogwoofs.com, it's just a live feed of that. That's all it is. So, he wanted me to add that on there and give a little shout out to Dogwoofs. And I think it's a cool site. I use it every day because, Twitter can get messy if you just want to see what the players are doing. So check it out, dogwoofs.com. Go ahead and bookmark that as well. So in terms of the game today, Dad, you tell me what you're most interested in seeing. We know the starters aren't really going to be out there, well, most of them, but what are you most interested in seeing? Then I'll give you mine.
Just, primarily don't get hurt. We can't afford to lose anybody in a stupid preseason game, especially with a bad injury, a knee or, something, a hamstring or whatever that puts somebody out for several weeks and will miss the opening game. I mean,
Right.
that's one thing. We know the starters are going to sit. Baker's not going to play at all. He'll be on the sidelines. Odell, they said, may go and catch a pass or two before they pull him out. I don't think
be a bad
Hunt
idea.
and Chubb are going to get any running plays because why risk them getting hurt? The tight ends are going to get a lot of work because there's competition there. And the defense, I want to see some of the new players on the field. I hope they play some of the defense to get them because they haven't played together. It's one thing to play in practice, and they've been given the offense a hard time, from what I understand, in practice in the red zone, which is good and bad. It's not good for the offense, but it's really good for the defense if our offense is struggling to score. In the red zone. Now, granted, it's not full speed, et cetera, et cetera. This is the first pads on pads. I mean, serious pads on pads. So I'm looking forward to the defense. I hope Cody kicks some good field goals or whatever, and doesn't light up a controversy in terms of the kicker situation. We know the punter is solid. Special teams, I hope they don't screw up special teams. And I'm interested in watching Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I want to see how he does. See if he comes out. They got a crappy team, so he's sort of in the same spot that Joe Burrow was last year. A crappy team, a crappy line that could get him hurt if he holds on to the ball too long. I'd be surprised if they give him some deep drops. I think he'll go 3 steps and throw just so he doesn't get hit. Tua is playing this afternoon. I think he played the entire first half for the Dolphins against the Bears. He looked pretty good. Dolphins look much better than the Bears in the first half. Andy Dalton is, I think going to be the starter for the Bears. We know we've seen him multiple times. We know what he can and cannot do. Uh, I'm just glad to see him on the field. And this is one game down, and we're 2 preseasons away from the start. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be hot, so I hope guys don't get too dehydrated and whatnot. Even though it's a night game, it's still going to be. What's the temperature by you, Mike?
It's warm.
Yeah, it's
Actually,
warm up here. I'm in Delaware, and it's 90 degrees up here in high humidity. So and I'll be returning to Florida at the end of September, early October. Mike and I are going to be like 5 minutes apart living, so I can be near the kids and enjoy the winter down there,
yeah.
and get out of the cold up here in Delaware.
Yeah, so this is going to be, well, by the time my dad gets down here, we're probably going to be able to watch the majority of the games this season together in
Right.
the media room, and
Right.
then we'll obviously go to the one game. But
So
yeah,
what's your thoughts, Mike? What are you looking forward to?
well, I would have really liked to have seen Grant Delpit, but I don't think he's playing today. So he's out, I think, with a hamstring issue. I'm going to be watching Greedy Williams closely.
Sure.
I don't
Yeah,
really
I like to see him tackle.
Yeah, I don't really care about. I think I forget who else is on the injury report who's going to be playing. I don't remember who's out there, but maybe Hubbard. Maybe he might be out there. But yeah, in terms of who I'm really most interested in, the rookies obviously. So Newsome and JOK,
Right.
Jock. I want to see him out there, obviously doing well. I know Ristano is really interested in that because Ristano already invested in a Jock jersey, so
Yeah.
he's excited about the kid from Notre Dame. And I don't the offense. I don't really care because the offense isn't gonna be anything close to like we actually put out in the field against Kansas City. So I
Right.
don't know.
Right.
Keenum's
Totally different game than the last game of the season. I'm glad we got that one under our belt. We got that, 2 playoff games. We beat the Steelers. We came close against Kansas City. We didn't get the breaks. We weren't as good as them. We didn't deserve to go beyond where we were
yeah
with that defense.
with the injuries
Uh,
you had. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm happy with that. But I think this is going to be a different game. I think they're worried about us. I think Kansas City is going to hopefully, not have it lighted up against us with Mahomes, but with that new defense, and we got a couple of preseason games under our belt. Um, I hope that they give them a real tussle. We win that game, we're off to a flying start.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I want to give some shout outs to some people in the chat. CH is out there, Mick the Dog, Typical Gamer, 17 Squabble Lane, Brandon Markovich, Mids Plug. I think Mids said he's down here in Florida as well. Obviously, Jonathan Schlegel. John asked if we're concerned about Tack being out without any explanation. I'm not really worried about really anybody at this point being out of games in the preseason. I actually prefer that the majority of anybody of significance, I don't see a really purpose in putting them out there if they're proven players. And the reason being, like you watch the first Pittsburgh game where Chase Claypool goes up, and dives for a ball, comes down, lands on the ball, and has to be taken out of the game.
Right.
And these guys aren't going to play it at like 60%, 50% to not get injured. It's not practice. These are live football games. These are grown men that are giant people who are trying to make a team.
Right.
And they're going to play their heart out. So Chase Claypool jumps and looked like he landed on the ball, which could have knocked your wind out, but he also could have landed the ball on your ribs. And then you've got 220 pounds or 230 pounds of grown men landing on a ball like that, who's laying out to catch it. Even if it didn't break his ribs or anything, what if it just bruised his ribs? Now you got a guy for the rest of preseason, as you're trying to get ready, who's going to be dealing with a nagging injury, right? Who's not going to be able to go full strength, who's going to be kept out of practice, kept out of drills at certain points. It's certainly kept out of contact. And this is a kid who's in his second year. So it doesn't make any sense to do that. Chase Claypool gave you a whole season last year. You know exactly what that dude is and what he can be.
Right. They took a big risk. They took a big risk. I thought he was hurt
Yeah.
till I saw him on the sidelines goofing around and cheering the Steelers on. So I knew he wasn't nothing serious happened to him. But I'm excited about the game. I hope we see somebody with a breakthrough. You know, like what was it, Giuseppe a couple years ago when
Sheehy Giuseppe.
yeah he ran that punt back for a touchdown. I'm hoping we see some of that tonight. Somebody comes out
Honestly,
of the woods and
that was one of the highlights of that entire season, because that was the Freddie Kitchens year, right?
yeah,
And that was one of the highlights of the season. They gave him the preseason.
he almost made the team. He almost made it.
Yeah, I think he's playing fan-controlled football now with Johnny Football. That
Oh,
was
really?
that was the last time I saw he's on that Johnny Football team. But obviously, I don't know. I think that was his 15 minutes of fame. So like, there's some fun stuff that can happen in the preseason. I'll tell you what I am most interested in is actually not on the Browns side of the ball. It's on the Jaguar side. I want to see two things. Obviously, I want to see Trevor Lawrence, see how he does, right? I want to see how he compares, because they're going to be playing Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew, and everybody's sitting there like, you invested your whole future in Trevor Lawrence. Let's go. Let's put the kid out there. But if you're Urban Meyer, and Gardner Minshew is playing well in the preseason and has a better control and command of the offense at this point, and gives you a better chance to win day one. I mean, you have a quarterback. You don't have to throw Trevor in day one. You don't have to do that, right? So it could be a situation like, I think the same. San Francisco's in the same position.
They're not going to the Super Bowl. So it's not like they're a Super Bowl contender and they need to, solidify their quarterback. They just need to bring him along gradually and not get him hurt, depending on how that offensive line protects him and what kind of plays they call. And hopefully he's got a head on his shoulders that he's not going to run the ball and get slaughtered by some linebacker making a name for himself, like Burrow got hurt last year. He wasn't running on the play he got hurt. He just, the pocket collapsed and he went down and he fell awkwardly and twisted his knee. But I think he's back. I think he's doing well in preseason. I don't know how well Cincinnati's got their offensive line back together, but he has a long season if they don't play well and he takes on too much. So it's to see what Urban Meyer can do. I mean, he's a good coach. He knows what to do. I think the fans will be patient. They got their quarterback of the future, no question. Minshew could get him through a couple of games, no problem. And you bring him along gradually, especially if Minshew has a bad game and he throws a couple of interceptions and they get behind by 20 points or whatever. Yeah, bring the kid in and let him get some snaps. Let him get used to the first offense, just like Baker. I mean, Baker got in, because Tyrod got hurt with the concussion in the Jets game.
And Hugh Jackson, he would have been perfectly happy losing that game.
Right.
He would have just let Tyrod play, and he would have just lost that game.
Right. And they were on their way to losing it. I mean,
they were down 14-0 when he came in.
Right. So I mean, that could happen. And he could come in and light it up too. I don't think they have the talent to do that. So again, it'll be the first quarter and they'll probably take him out, and then all the backups get a chance to, show what they can do. So that they have a chance of making the team, and you just have to hope that nobody on either side of the ball gets hurt. It'd be a shame for anybody to go down in a preseason game. It's not the way you want to have it happen. Once the season starts, all bets are off, and you play your heart out, and you play 100%, 120%, and I'm so anxious to see how Clowney and Miles do, and what teams decide to do. I mean, I can hear the commentators right now talking about, what the strategy is going to be as the Browns line up for that offense, and they can't wait to see if who gets the first sack, whether it's Miles or and then why did he get it? Because Garrett was double teamed and Clowney got a free shot or vice versa. And they'll. I just hope they feed off each other and they get their rest with the backups coming in.
Yeah.
But that's going to be one of the things I'll be looking for in that Kansas City game. How that defense gets it together. How many games is it going to take before they really start to gel if they don't lose anybody? If they go down 2 or 3 players, especially in the secondary, then we're right back to last season, playing with backup in the secondary and getting killed, giving up 30, 40 points a game and just trying to stay alive. I'm not looking forward to that. I'm looking for a solid defense.
Mhm.
We win a lot of 30 to 20 games, 30 to 10 games, the ones we're supposed to win, and the ones that if we lose, if it's close and we don't get blown away, we don't get embarrassed, we don't make mistakes, that'd be great. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I think that's the piece that a lot of people are saying that Browns, because of the talent that we have, are a top 10 and maybe even a top 5 defense in the league.
Yeah.
And then you
On
look at our
paper,
offense.
anyway.
Yeah, on paper, right? We filled those holes. I think the Johnson as the safety is huge. That was the big piece that was the biggest liability last year was our safety play. Ronnie Harrison did well while he stayed healthy, but that was the big thing was Sendejo out there at a safety, and then and then we got Troy Hill, who I think Troy Hill is our new Terrence Mitchell. Like I don't see Troy Hill being somebody who at this point is probably going to be fighting for a Pro Bowl spot by any means, but I think he's going to be an excellent depth guy, and then seeing Newsome, see what kind of steps he can make. If Newsome can have the same kind of rookie season that Denzel Ward had,
right,
and then we have Denzel Ward who actually has a season where he stays healthy, and that's the biggest thing this year, guys. We have we have skill at every single position. There's not one position on the field where I'm like, yeah, but safety, or
right.
yeah, but linebacker. I think we have skill at linebacker with JOK, with was it Walker, the guy that we brought in from Indianapolis?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Walker.
Mac Wilson's having an incredible camp from all the reports that are out there. Taki is still on the team. Malcolm Smith is still on the team.
Guy Johnson, in the secondary. Yeah.
Yeah, Johnson in the secondary. We have then there's also Phillips out there. We have talent. The only thing that I'm like a little bit weary is the defensive, the interior line of the defensive line. Because we don't have Sheldon Richardson there anymore. I know Andrew Billings is there, right? And
strongest guy in the NFL, right?
So, yeah, and my friend Jake Rollerson, who we had on last year, he was an offensive lineman who played at Texas and Arkansas, played against him in college. And I remember I asked him, who was the hardest guy that you had to go and block against in college? Jake was a guard. And he said, by far, it was Andrew Billings. Like, by easily, it was Andrew Billings. He's like, that guy looked like a giant playing amongst little kids. So yeah, there was a I want to see if I can get to this. 17 Squabble Lane said, did I hear the Killies were originally from Pittsburgh? How are you not Steelers fans? Very rare anti-establishment. All Pittsburghians are Steelers fans. We're not. We're from central Pennsylvania. So now that we're now in central Florida, so central part of states happens to be where we're at.
I grew up in northern Jersey.
Yeah.
And became a Browns fan in the mid '50s when I was about 8 years old.
Yeah.
Rooting for Jimmy Brown and some of the old players through the '60s, and with my dad. And I hated the Giants. Hated Sam Huff and Frank Gifford and Y.A. Tittle and all those guys. And they had good teams. I mean, it was smash mouth football back then. The pass was secondary. You ran the ball, and you just tried to kill the other guy on the other side, regardless of who he was. And they didn't call you might say the cheesy penalties that they call now. Guys will put their elbow in your face mask, try to gouge your eye, and hit you in the stomach when you're on the ground. I mean, they didn't play dirty, but they played very, very physical. And not to say that our guys aren't physical now, but it's slightly different. They catch a lot of stuff, and they've actually gone the other way and trying to take the physicality out of it by hitting defenseless receivers and protecting the quarterback. They didn't do that back then. You watch some of those hits, some of those quarterbacks took, I think one of them, Johnny Unitas, takes a hit from one of our guys right in the face as he lets the ball go, and it probably didn't even get a penalty for it. So it's changed quite a bit over the years, and I can understand you're paying these guys a lot more than you did way back when. So you can't afford to lose one of these star players that you're paying $50 million, $60 million to,
Yeah.
and have them sit out the whole season. So it's a different game, a lot more finesse, the pass, the scoring, all that stuff. So hopefully we get through this preseason, we get through this game tonight, we get a good report at the end of the game that nobody got hurt or seriously hurt, that type of thing. And that, I'm interested to see what Keenum can do and in terms of the quarterback
Yeah,
position.
I don't know who the backup quarterbacks are besides Keenum is going to play. I know that we had signed. Did we sign Chad Kelly or did we just talk to him? I don't know if he signed. I don't know. Like, I don't think Keenum's going to play the whole game, and I don't think he should.
No, they
So,
got the
Yeah,
other guy.
he'll probably play
Gonna
the first quarter.
Is it Taylor? Is there a guy named Taylor that we picked up?
To be honest, I know this is bad. I don't know.
I should print out the
It
roster.
doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't
Right.
matter because it's only going to be Keenum and Baker on the roster this year, and then they'll have a third string emergency guy, which I think is ballsy. If you have, how many times it happens in the NFL where one guy gets injured, the backup comes in, the backup gets injured right away. Like the Ravens game last year when Lamar goes out, McSorley comes in, McSorley's injured, he's playing at 50% because he's injured, and then Lamar Jackson had to come back out in the field. I mean,
Right.
that is a scary, scary situation. You have to have somebody if you're going to roll with two quarterbacks, somebody who's an emergency guy because the concussions come too easily. The other, soft tissue and bone injuries happen too easily in the NFL to not have that.
When you get reduced to your third string quarterback, you got all kinds of problems. You got lack of playing time. You got lack of knowledge of the offense in a real live game situation. You got no chemistry with your receivers or whatever.
Yep,
You're
limited
throwing-
understanding of the playbook probably.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just a horrible situation to be in, and so we got to keep Baker healthy from game one. Hope he doesn't, get hit in the ribs or get, have something go down that would hurt him long term. It's, the other thing I'm going to be watching real close is the Steelers and see how Roethlisberger gets off to his start and see if he plays as badly as he played at the last 4 or 5 games of the year or whether he corrected it.
Yeah.
Mike, you highlighted that they may have picked up on him, lifting his heel,
His foot thing,
and
yeah.
telegraphing whether he was running or passing. I mean, that's huge. If they're going to pass and you don't have to protect against the run or vice versa. And I could see why their offense would really struggle as a result of giving away your plays like that. So,
And then I mean, so that kid on TikTok where I found that video from, he actually then followed up that video and was like, hey, I know this kind of blew up, but I do want to show like what an actual NFL scouting report looks like because somebody sent him one, and it was a full page with like just blocks of information all over it about things that they find. So that while that's an interesting thing and it's a very like it's once you know it's there, you're looking at it and you're like it's so obvious, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more tells that they have and different they fall into patterns that these teams and they have the quality control guys on every team That's their job, is to look for those patterns and look for things. So then they know, okay, it's third and 4 on their side of the ball. What do they typically do in that situation? So they know all this kind of stuff. And I think, honestly, this is one of the biggest opportunities for technology to come into the NFL. The first team that starts leveraging AI to analyze historically, teams of what they've done in situations, or even, here's the best part about it. Let's say that you're like Mike McCarthy in Dallas, or better yet, Jason Garrett in New York, who's the offensive coordinator out there, right? So you can go back and look at what Jason Garrett had called his entire time in Dallas, or Mike McCarthy, what he had called when he was in Green Bay in those situations, to give you a certain level of confidence of what they believe would happen in those scenarios.
Right.
But additionally, on top of that, I think that AI can come into play to help you and help your team determine what's the best play to run in this situation, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I think there's some interesting things that are going to go on. It looks like Kyle Laletta, Chad Russell says, is probably going to be the guy as the third string quarterback. But one other interesting storyline that I'm following, again, on the Jag side, I want to see how Tebow does.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see how Tim Tebow does. Is he, he's one of those guys that is kind of defying the odds, coming back, playing a position he's never played before,
Right.
and just showing up. If I had to guess, I think Tim Tebow makes the team as a tight end. He'll be like the third or fourth tight end on the team, and he'll play a lot of like weird positions, like he did in New York and like he did in, I guess for Belichick for like a preseason or something like that. They're going to have him be like the personal protector for punting situations, maybe holding for extra points, stuff that you can do with a guy like that who does have a skill set that, he might not be Drew Brees accurate with the ball, but he knows how to throw the ball better than a punter would. So if you're a place kick holder and you got a guy who could pick it up and not only throw, but could run and knock you the hell over to get a yard or two, that's going to put defense. It's a position that if you have a guy who's going to be a personal protector or a holder or some weird special teams position, it's a throwaway position anyway. That guy's not going to the Pro Bowl. That guy's not really making an impactful, thing anyway. Thank you again, new subscriber Pat Simon. If you can get a guy like Tebow and put him there, it makes it creates a match. It makes them have to stay honest, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's taking up a spot, so he's not going to sit on the bench. Every player in a 53-man roster has got to play, has got to contribute, has got to go in the game, and has got to show his value. I think he's got pretty solid hands, and he's got a body that is sort of typical for a tight end.
Yeah, thick.
The only difference is he's never played there. He's never run those routes. He's probably blocking. Hopefully they teach him the right technique and he doesn't get his quarterback killed. And the more he can block, the more he's going to play.
Well, and if he makes a play or scores a touchdown,
sure.
People don't realize
They'll look like geniuses. They'll look like geniuses if he does that.
Tim Tebow is from the Jacksonville area originally. Played high school football in Jacksonville. He's a legend there. Obviously a legend in Gainesville as well. He arguably is the best college football quarterback of all time. He's definitely in the conversation, right? So
he was successful, no doubt about it. He found a way to win,
and he did it with Urban Meyer too.
Right.
So that's
early in his career. He found a way to win. He had a couple of really good comeback wins. I remember a Denver game he won from nowhere. So I mean, he's a winner.
He just willed them into the playoffs that year, and then beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
with that long pass, he beat him with his arm.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tebow. Yeah, I don't know, guy. I mean, in terms of this game, it's just going to be fun to watch. See the orange helmets out there, but it's not really the Browns. But I will tell you, this team that this backup team that we're seeing is probably on par with talent wise with the Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser era of the Browns.
Oh yeah.
You know, the team that couldn't win a game or won one game in 2 years.
Right.
This backup team is probably on par with that level of talent. But I think the Browns backups, if you start the Browns backups with Case Keenum, Ernest Johnson, wide receivers like JoJo Natson and Schwartz and those guys, tight end, your backup tight end would be Carlson. And, you know, I think that team wins more than one game in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, better, certainly better than last year. I mean, look across the spectrum. Our defense had holes in it, you know, from top to
bottom. Yeah.
And even where we had 3 solid starters at some point during the year, with Miles and Ward and so forth,
Yeah.
they never played more than a handful of games together. And Miles is operating 50% off of COVID, and
everybody. It was just like injuries, COVID, just lack of talent there. You know, like it was just everything.
And we still did as well as we did with the record
with a negative point differential. You know, and that's what and rightfully so. Everybody said, like, hey, the Browns thing is they give up too many points.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can't be a successful team. You know, they say defense wins championships. I don't necessarily think defense wins championships, but defense gets you to the championship.
Right.
You know, you got to score points when you're there, but unless you're like those Ravens teams who just had like a joke of an offense who just nobody could score on them.
Right.
But this defense this year, I know that we brought in, you know, Jadeveon Clowney and, you know, Johnson, and we got the 2 rookies in the first and second round. Honestly, I'm not expecting this defense to be the number 1 defense in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if they are, because I think the talent is there. But I mean, Joe Woods now has the groceries. He didn't have the groceries last year, and it showed. So now with the level of talent that Joe Woods has, if he doesn't put together a solid defense, like I'm talking, this defense should not be giving up 20 points a game. Should not be putting up 20 points.
No, the Kansas City game will tell us a lot in terms of their cohesiveness and their ability to play off of one another and make independent, individual type plays.
Yeah.
And you know, get off the field. The biggest thing is to get off the field, 3 and out. How many times were we faced with that, and we could not? We had 2 great first down, second down,
third and long too.
Third and long, and they got it.
Chad Henne.
I don't know how many times they got it. It was just so frustrating.
Yeah.
But after a while, we got used to it because we knew they weren't going to get any better. They didn't have the talent, and we just had Band-Aid after Band-Aid. So let's hope we get off to a good start. They're cohesive. They're good.
Yeah.
The fact that people want to come to Cleveland, they want to play for the Browns. They know how good we're going to be, or we have the ability to be. So if there's ever a question about, well, I don't think I want to go to Cleveland, they suck, that's not the story anymore. I mean, they want to come to Cleveland.
Sure.
You know, would not be losing anybody to any other team, I don't think.
I think the worst thing about Cleveland, honestly, it's not the coaches anymore. Coaches are there. I mean, we won a playoff game with our special teams coordinator as the head coach, right? The coaches are there, right? And obviously Stefanski, coach of the year. We have young, good head coach. So coaches are there. The talent is there, right? So we have talent at every position. So people know that they're going to win games, right? So if you want to win,
interesting also to see how much of the offense that Stefanski gives up, how much he lets the offensive coordinator actually coordinate.
In the preseason, I wouldn't be surprised. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised, and I think he should, right? If it's not going to be your players, Stefanski, like if I was Stefanski, this is what I would do. I would call the first, as long as Keenum's in, I'd call those plays, and then I just hand the book over to whoever whoever else is there. But
Right.
you made a good point about players wanting to come to Cleveland now. Rookies are excited to come to Cleveland as well. They look and they're like, you hear the name Cleveland Browns and it has that stigma about, the 20 years before last year, right? Up 2000 or 1999 to 2019, and then 2020 comes and they're a couple plays away from the AFC Championship game, right? In a COVID wrecked season with our best wide receiver missing, right? So it's now a destination, and I think people believe that this team has the opportunity to do that. And I've seen a lot of Browns teams throughout my life. You've seen a lot of Browns teams throughout your life, and I would put this roster this year up against any Browns roster we have ever had.
Right. They just need to build a reputation. You the only way you get a reputation. I remember the old Happy Days TV comedy with Ron Howard and the Fonz and all those. And Ron Howard was trying to intimidate somebody, and the Fonz said to him, you have to, in order to have a bad reputation, you have to have actually hit somebody. You've had to actually, hurt somebody. That's how you get a reputation. That's how people respect your reputation. We have no reputation on our defense. They are brand new, upgraded.
Yes, but I will say with that everybody in the league, players, coaches, media, everybody respects Myles Garrett.
Oh,
he's the anchor. He's the guy. All right. Then
and Ward too. They'll stay away from him if they have
when
to.
He's healthy, right? Because Ward can make plays, and Ward can end games. He ended the Dallas game, right? So you're absolutely right. So we have those. We have a couple of pillars on defense, but now, like we were talking about earlier in the show, now you've got Jadeveon Clowney on the other side. Now Jadeveon Clowney's been around for a little while. He's not, third year Jadeveon Clowney anymore, but we've got a lot of guys out there that can make a difference.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and that's what they got to prove. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the games. These preseason things don't make a hill of beans. Now, it'd be nice to grab a fumble. It'd be nice to make a nice pick. Breaking on the ball early or whatever. It'd be nice to put your hand up and get a tip and get a ball. Get an interception that way. I mean, that builds confidence on the defense. That gives them something to build on for the next game, and certainly for the opening game, which they're going to be so hyped coming out of that tunnel. You're going to have to hose them down to get them back down to earth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a fun season, guys. And
Absolutely.
a lot of fun things to look forward to here. So hey, it's getting close to 4:00. We are just basically doing this as a test run.
Right.
And I'm getting a little bit of feedback there. I don't know, Dad, if do you have anything of speakers going on or no? Maybe that's just coming through your headset. I don't know.
Okay.
But no worries. So we're just looking at this as a test run, just to say hello to everybody, welcome everybody back. Talk about
We're going to do it next week for the next game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We'll do all preseason. I don't know if we will do a post game. It's going to be a little bit late tonight, guys. So I don't know if there's going to be a post game going on for this. But Mr. Killy and Fonzarelli were in the Falcons together back in the day. Toughest gang in New Jersey. It's funny. Although I think I want to say, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, that the Happy Days took place in like Milwaukee.
Yeah, right. It did. Yeah, it was in the
Milwaukee area. Not many TV shows.
Talk about a hit show, and talk about a character like Henry Winkler, who is just the opposite in real life. He doesn't play a tough guy at all. He's very mild and meek, and
he's funny too. Everything he's been in, he's been really funny.
Yeah. He's done some funny shows and whatnot, but it was a great show. Always made me laugh, and course, that was when I was growing up, so I could relate to all the things that they did on the show and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
but it's all about reputation. So let's hope we start to build that reputation for the defense. I think we got a good rep on the offensive side. We got a good rep now with the coaching staff. Got great fans that will just support the hell out of this team from day one,
Yeah.
especially if we win, and keep winning and keep knocking off our rivals like Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And I think we can handle Cincinnati. And then win the games that they don't think we can win, like the Kansas City game. I mean, it's going to be great. Going to be
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely. Fun stuff going on this year, guys. There's going to be giveaways. There's going to be a couple things going on. So I guess giveaways are going to be out there. Upgraded websites coming with potentially blog capabilities, newsletters coming, Discord channels coming. Right, so we're expanding out the Brownie post game ethos out there into the world, and obviously you can follow me and my dad. So you got my Twitter here, my dad's Twitter there. So follow us on Twitter, connect with us there,
Right.
and yeah, I mean, hopefully we will be drinking out of our Victory Monday mugs.
Right.
Victory preseason victory. I honestly think even if we lose the game, in the box score, as long as we don't if nobody gets injured, I consider that a victory, and I will be drinking my Victory Monday mug
Absolutely.
from Cleveland Clothing Co. if that happens. So yeah, so guys, just real quick, if you haven't liked the stream, if you're on YouTube, like the stream. If you're on Twitch, consider subscribing. That'd be fantastic. If not, just like the stream there, connect there. Follow us on Twitch. That'd be great. I'm going to be figuring out how to simulcast on Facebook Live and also Twitter at some point this season, expanding out our reach that way as well. And then obviously, if you connect with Ristano, tell him that we miss him, and
Right.
we'll see him soon on the Wednesday.
Good.
So, all right, guys. Yes. Have
Go Brownies.
have a
Go
lovely
Brownies.
day, and go Browns.
Against the world. My city is on the brink tonight. We about to go. I'm hearing the crowd begin to rise in stereo. Skies bringing Armageddon in off the lake. Thunder rolls. And all the people shouting out a name. We are Cleveland, born to fight and believe it. We ride or die, hear 'em screaming. Every boy and girl. Cleveland against the world. no cookie cutter fool.